Mm. Hello, everybody. Welcome. You are looking at a different face than my own, but it is I, Master Juniper Bloom Mystique. I have something very important I want to share with you today. As you all know on my channel, I have been doing work that isn't quite normal, and it all pertains to the end of ways, right? Some would call it the end of days. God calls it the end of ways outside of God. We are in the greatest reset of mankind. And since I had my own Kundalini awakening in 2019, I have been freeing Jesus's soul, clearing Mount Shasta, part one and two, which was not of light at all. And I want to talk about that too, because apparently with Scientology, I learned this weekend, which I didn't know because I'm not a Scientologist, that Scientologists believe that they would sacrifice aliens into a volcano, which Mount Shasta is a volcano, and those alien souls would fly out and affect people. Now, is that the reptilians? Kind of what I was thinking, because if you watch me clear Mount Shasta, there were hundreds of souls trapped there, and I freed them. Then I returned the root chakra back to Fiji and I opened up the God portal. And Fiji, there's a pyramid there, which I activated, I cleansed, and then I returned the root chakra back here. Then I started doing things to the sun and the moon, and I undid the false concept of time, and I undid all darkness of the moon. Most of it, though, excuse me, is on the path to righteousness. So I found that very interesting how, excuse me, Scientology believes that they would throw souls, they would throw like alien beings or different beings as a sacrifice into a volcano. Mount Shasta is what I thought of because Mount Shasta is a volcano. And in part one of Mount Shasta, I undid the Emancipation Proclamation. There was a lot done in this one. It is 2 hours long for that reason. You'd have to watch it. It's true work of Christ. And then in part two, came way down here after I did lots of other work. This is the work of Christ, you guys. This bringing down the blood of Christ is really true. Undoing the Holy Grail really happened. It's the real work. Activating masculine pyramids, Kilimanjaro, White House demolished, very real work. Taking us through the Nile, turning it blood dry and drying it out, Sekhmet returning, very real work. Here's Mount Shasta part two. Archangel Samael burned. He was underneath it. So I found that to be very interesting. Um, and there's a lot of work here. So if you're curious to know the actual true return of Christ and what that means and what was done and what had to be undone, Jesus's soul finally united with my DM because I even got a walk-in. Something happens to King Charles and his wife. Sphinx fully awakens, so their skin fell off, and they were exposed as part of the what you would call reptilian complex or cortex. And so how it ties all together, right? It really does. But right now we are in full swing in life reviews, right? And not everybody's going to ascend, and I talked about that. It is a rite of passage. You have to do the work to get there. And I'm going to tell you right now that um, the obstacles you face to work through those is the way to rise, okay? I also undid the Money Matrix. Horus Rose here, which is one of my favorites. I wish people would watch that one. It's one of my favorites out of all of it because honestly, I really love my new DM. He's amazing. I love him so much. I have truly fallen in love with him. Anyways, to undoing religion, using the trees to fill them with Christ's light, clearing the twin towers of all souls. I've done it all. The Mayans rose from Lake Titicaca, which is where the hub of Atlantis was, and I rose from there as well. It's all on here. God shifted plans. Portal of the Nile is now. Urgent wrath path now. So he shifted us into the ascension quicker than we were going to. Because, people weren't choosing past that resistance enough. So that is key. Then I began birthing New Earth, and this was when my DM and I united on the final level in our souls of Adam and Eve. Day 6, all light is called back. So all darkness will lose access to all light. They are. You cannot remain duality anymore. It is the end. It truly is. Then we undid the money matrix. Okay. The angels went through portals because they're going to be reborn. The Sistine Chapel was undone. Like, this is really real stuff. Christ return, undoing power of the pentagram. And I'm about to show you De La Roca's video. Okay. I told you Trump would win, and he did, especially because of all the work that we did right before. Okay. False foundations, and these kind of are leading you and telling you what's coming in 2025, which I'm going to do a video on that too. But De La Roca speaks it very eloquently what I have been saying and what we need to do at this time. So we're going to listen to him today.
So wild. It's interesting to experience a quantum timeline shift. Previously, I shared about finding lost fractals of yourself. We're going on the final quest now. We're going on the final quest. And you might be getting this message and you know it's all about to come together and there's no turning back. There are things we need to do. We have to go on this quest. This is the end game. And at the end of this, it will all make sense. And there is no turning back, Natalie. No, there's no turning back. If you're just stumbling on, you can hit the like button and hit 888 if you want true abundance in your everyday life. Because there is no turning back from this. It's all in. In today's lesson, I'm going to share with all of you all of the signs, my experiences, and then you're going to take my experience and then you're going to apply it to your everyday life. Okay, so think of energy themes. I'm going to give you specific things. You might say, what is this? What does this mean? But if you listen to this entire message, it's all going to make sense because it's everything all at once right now. We are going.
You are in a life review right now. So as he's saying it's everything all at once right now, this is very true. Now give me just a second. I'm going to stop the share. And I'm just going to make sure. Sweet. Okay. So I'm going to go back to it. So this is very important to understand because we are in life reviews and every decision you make right now, and I do mean every decision is a test and it matters. Every decision you make right now is a test and it matters.
Going into the past. So earlier this year, I talked about how you had to retrieve lost fractals of yourself. Sometimes we do that with us, and sometimes we have to do it from our memories, from our experiences, and it's all coming together. I have a very special announcement today. I hope everyone will stay till the end of this message today. Very special announcement. And just confirm with the stars and the 888s that you hear me clear. Comments. And this is a wild time, but it's a really a great time. And one of the things
I will tell you, De La Roca is connected. He sees everything I do shortly after I do it because he's tuned into his heart space very deeply. He follows that path. He co-creates with God every single day, and he pushes back past his own challenges. He sees more clearly than anybody I've ever seen to the work that has been done. And what's really crazy is if you've been watching me, I would do something like clear out a pyramid or do something, and he would literally read in the energy. And I remember in my original battle with my twin flame, I kept having to create new timelines because it was something that wasn't supposed to happen. And it was an attempt to stop the ascension. And I remember going, oh my God, a new timeline was created. And we were doing this on my channel. This was happening live over the last few years' time. And the next day, De La Roca would go out. He would wake up and be like, where am I at? What timeline am I on? He was reading it all. He also knew I was battling with the twin flame because he would talk about that. The twin flame, the divine masculine. It was insane. So De La Roca is very connected. I do recommend him.
We need to do, and we must do this right now. You are going to have to barrel through something called fear, like the juggernaut, okay? You put the helmet on and just blast right through it. It's so important, and it is a very interesting, appreciate that, it is a very interesting time period. If you're new to the channel, I'm Michael. I discuss the ascension journey and I make it relevant for everyday life people. This is a quantum timeline split that's happening. And you can see that the way that you thought, and there's ways of tapping in, and it's kind of happening very quickly right now, but there's ways of tapping into the
Sorry about that. It snuck up. It snuck up.
past into the future. So number one, if you're new to the channel and you never saw my video on quantum chaos, you watch that video, okay? So
as I was activating the pyramids, I kept stating it's quantum physics applied. This is beyond our knowing in this physical world that we've been in. Even science is not caught up yet to what the totality of it is and how pyramids were really created, and it's quantum physics applied, okay? That's why it's quantum timeline shifting. In order to rise, you have to expand into the quantum spaces. And this is what we've been talking about. I've been mentioning lots how to do that, and I love the way that De La Roca puts it. So it's important.
the themes, the feelings that I'm having right now, I'm going on a quest, and I'm listening to myself, what I'm looking for. I left a video out in the salt marsh. We're looking for something. I'm on a final quest. Maybe you want on a quest with the Legend of Zelda. That's what we're like, the Legend of Zelda. We're on the final quest. So I am going around, and there's memories and feelings that, I'm just gonna say it and then you apply it to your life. It feels like the two energy theme time periods of 1996 and 2013. And I know you say, what the heck, what are you talking about? Just the vibes that I'm getting, and you might be picking up a certain maybe years, like a certain vibe, like a 1996, 98 vibe. And then also simultaneously, I'm picking up like a 2013 vibe.
The reason he's doing that is because as an individual level, you are going through life reviews, but the earth is also processing her own death. And that was actually done in here. That would be you can actually watch what that was. It was painful because I processed it through my vessel. That it's in here. I'm like, it's in here. Where is it? I processed her death through my vessel. So right here, okay? You can watch it, what that means. The earth is also dying. So the earth is going through a timeline review, life review, just processing the past, right? As we go through a life review and we're processing our life, that's basically what a life review is, right? We are processing our life, but all lives. And so you will have strange memories, strange feelings popping up you can't quite put your finger on. And hopefully you have a new perspective this time around than you did the first time. That's, did you learn your lessons?
The chat is blowing up right now. If you feel this, you could write yes in the chat. So as I'm going on my final quest, I am going back and I am retrieving lost fractals of myself. I am going back and revisiting things from a higher vantage point, because maybe back in 1996 and 2013, I wasn't fully conscious and aware as I am today. And that might resonate with you on your journey. You might say to yourself, you know what, I wasn't, fully conscious and aware, earlier in life. And then all of a sudden, now that I cracked open that third eye, I activated my pineal gland, whatever the terminology you'd like to use. Now you go back and you revisit it, and you put yourself back in that position, and you start taking in that energy. And now you're starting to put things together like puzzle pieces. Okay, so at first, you might have an experience, you might have a theme, And you could say to yourself, well, why is this coming up? And we're going back and we're finding these little catalysts, these little things. You're going on an exploration event and putting them all together. So you might trigger, or you're looking at things, or you're experiencing things that are triggering past or lost memories. And you say, oh my God, I remember that. I remember that. You know, and then you see some, and so I passed a place. And I remember back, and it could have been around that 2013 time, I passed it and I said, there's something over there. Like I had this feeling, like I felt like I should go over there. And then it came up again, and I said, I just felt it just was so like strange, so weird. As we go into the end game, the final quest, facing fear is so important. It is.
I also want to tell you guys that it is a great reset of mankind. So all past lives are reminiscent of this one. This current life that you are playing out has key features from all past lives, no matter the surroundings, no matter the scenery. And so this is actually relevant, what he's talking about, to go across all lifetimes. The emotions, the events can be quite similar in frequency and in lessons needing to learn. Okay?
Is the only way. Facing fear, and you have to realize this, okay? The biggest successes happen on the other side of fear. The biggest successes happen on the other side of fear. If you need to write that down on a piece of paper and look at it every day, write it in the comment section. The biggest successes come on the other side of fear. You know, on my journey, I've had many big successes. I have much exponential, bigger ones that are about to pop off. And every time I went through a big success, I had to fight through fear. I had to go through things. I had to overcome. And people are going to say, you got to go this way. This is the safe way.
This is true. So even when I was doing the Return of Christ, I was activating pyramids. I was doing things in my journey, and people would come out of the blue. People from my past or people I was just now meeting would come out of the blue, and something either nasty would come my way. They would put me down in some way, shape, or form. They would tell me I was doing things wrong. Like, it didn't matter. It was always trying to sway me. I would also have a lot of internal resistance coming up anytime God would say, hey, do this. If something popped in and I'm like, I gotta do that, I would get so much resistance all the way back to processing Jesus's death. Before that event occurred, I remember being attacked by some very negative energies, okay? And then hearing that I wasn't good enough, that I shouldn't show up, that I shouldn't do this, that people didn't care. And I pushed past it. I cleared it out, not knowing what was coming. So that's the thing, is you never know what's coming on the other side of that fear, but you better believe something good is coming. So you have to blast through it. You have to push past the fear.
I said, nah, son, I'm going to go this way. Maybe that resonates with you. And because all the people out there say, you got to go this way. This is the safe way. This is the comfortable way to go. Don't go down there. It's dark. Sometimes you have to plunge yourself into the fear. I've done that on my journey. Some of you lived through this with me. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're going to have to plunge yourself into the fear.
You want to know the biggest, scariest part of my journey? Was my twin flame journey. I had to plunge myself into the fear, everywhere fear was, because he didn't make it, but it was a battle to save that part of my soul, which I did. And then as soon as I did, he continued to try to go the same way. And God had a plan. He told me he had a plan. So the amazing thing is my new DM was already in God's plan. God already chose him. He already kind of knew that I was going to get a new DM if I needed to. I didn't know that, right? But the biggest fear was actually showing up on this day. The day I got a walk-in DM, I was terrified. I didn't know what was coming. I was so scared, and it was painful. I felt my DM's heart stop. Like, it's internal. We are connected internally at the soul level. I feel everything from him. My new DM is really good at keeping himself private, but with my old DM, like, I felt everything. And I felt his heart stop. It was so painful. That's scary. And to not know what was, like, that was scary. So even on my journey, there was a lot of fear that I had to push past. There will always be fear when something is this big. and we don't understand it all.
You're going to have to barrel through the fear. The obstacle is the way. Get this energy in your head right now.
The obstacle is the way, the
And you
challenge.
must do this right. You want success, or you want to sit on the couch like Tom, that's fine. Eat the nachos, that's cool. But the biggest successes are on the other side of fear. And we have to tackle things that might bring up fear. Maybe you feel uncomfortable. Maybe the Matrix society. You ever watched the Matrix? Earlier in this lesson, I talked about revisiting things from the past. And I've shared, and it's going to be relevant to the end of this video and what's coming. I said to people, I watched the movie They Live when I was a kid. I didn't understand it, so because I wasn't fully conscious. I watched They Live, and then as I awakened spiritually, as I expanded my consciousness, I watched They Live again, and I saw thousands of deeper things that I didn't see when I watched that as a kid.
And that's what I keep trying to tell people is the work I do is truly Christ. It's very vast. If you watch it once, you're not going to see the totality of what it is. It does take a few times through. It does take a lot of processing. But that's the way awakening works too, right? You watch it the first time, it plants seeds. Then you come back next time and it's like, whoa. You'll have to forgive me. Bless me. I'm so sorry. And so as we grow and learn, and as the lessons learn, we should be gaining new perspectives. As we grow, we gain new perspectives. So it's important to always revisit. When God says it's time to revisit, not when your ego says it's time because you won't be ready. There's a difference.
So this is the quantum jumping that we're doing right now, going back and forth, okay, going into your past, seeing your future. I already know my future. Not exactly, but you could get this, right? You're fine-tuned right now, and you kind of understand what I'm talking about with that. You could kind of feel your future. You're feeling your future, and it's not like an exact, exactly how your future is going to be, but you're picking up on that frequency, the basic frequency that you're going to live in. Okay, and what does that mean? You could simplify things. You might have lived in a time period of lack and limitation. You could live in a time period of abundance. You could live in a time period of being very influential, like a lighthouse for millions of people. Millions of people are counting on you to.
And how scary is that if God calls you all of a sudden to be in front of people? Like, that's something I've battled too. That's been my own battle. It's something that I've been learning to do. I remember my beginning of my journey, God said that I needed to be on stage. And I'm like, what does that mean? Screw that. Like, no way. And now I get it. And the thought of millions of people or lots of people seeing you, some people are okay with that and some of us are not. It's not so easy. But so God is going to ask you to do things outside of your comfort zone. Your heart center, your soul purpose is going to be outside of usual comfort zone of the matrix reality.
Turn that light on. The ships want to come home.
Mm-hmm.
We're creating the bridge so we can get our brothers and sisters
home. Yes, and that's what God tells me too, is I'm that light, so I have to shine it. I have to shine it. So because if I don't, people won't know where to go. We won't be able to rise. You have to rise through the one that brought it about. And that's not my ego. So it's actually taken me a long time to be willing to step up into. Truly, truly. And then getting a new DM who has to fill these big, massive shoes. Like, it's a lot, you guys. So I get that it's not always easy to step into your soul purpose. But just like I love De La Roca because he describes it so well. And, you have the purpose is on the other side of that obstacle. Your purpose is on the other side of that fear, because those are based in ego. Fear and the feeling of it being an obstacle is based in ego or wounds of the past.
We're going home. We're going home. Okay? And that's what this time period is about. Okay? Now,
we're going home.
Anger must be let out. There's a lot of emotions that are coming up. What's emotion? It's energy and motion. If you hold on to the anger, your physical wellness will decline. Okay? So,
This is actually in the latest course I've been creating, which I find very interesting, is the Hidden Shadow to Love. I have just almost completed that course completely, but you can purchase it. It's healing the mother father wound, it's healing timelines, it's healing all these things. And it also teaches you about what keeps us from being in full bodied love. And emotions are everything. And I have a section in there about emotions, energy and motion. Manifesting is energy and motion. And when our emotions are pure, they are powerful. Okay? But when we block them, when we hold them, when we don't know how to read them, when we don't know how to process them, they are not as powerful as they need to be, or they might be misfiring, right?
I want to. I'm going to also give you this. Uncle Mike will tell you. You are allowed. Hey, I'm allowed. I'm allowed to be angry. You know, and a lot of the subconscious programs of the mainstream society, the Matrix, they're actually making our people sick. Okay, and Dr. Gabor speaks about this, and
I speak about that. In the path to righteousness, I actually remove the virus matrix wall for you. So you have a lot of false things, false foods, false everything, medications. These things make you sick. False timelines make you sick. Okay. So very important to not have those. And there's a lot of spiritual community that say, oh, you can't be angry. You have to love everything. Screw you. Today I'm angry. Let me be. So, because it's something we have to process, right? Anxiety isn't necessary, but it's showing us there's something to process. So, our emotions have messages, they're telling you what to do.
speaks about healthy anger is part of the immune system. You're getting angry about something. Okay, and there's also unhealthy anger as well, but you got to listen carefully. Okay, there's healthy anger that's part of your immune system, telling you about something is wrong on the outside. Your spiritual senses are picking it up. That's the healthy anger. It's your immune system. Stay away from the parasitical energy. Why are we getting angry?
So, when something on the external triggers you, it's because there's something on the internal you need to do. Okay? And I talk about this a lot. When something on the external triggers you because it's a reflection of you, there's something on the internal you need to do. Okay? It's showing you something you need to heal, something you need to step over, something you need to process, something that's been buried. Anger is a symptom. Okay? It's a symptom. Any extreme emotions are symptoms, okay, of a buildup. It's a compound emotion. And this is what I talk about in my course.
It's getting you a signal so you don't keep, and if you keep holding it in, then your liver's going to be blown out, your organs are going to be blown out, filled with, anxiety. What is anxiety? It's fear of the future, inflammation, right? And you could get this message today, and you say, yeah, hey, yeah, I wasn't allowed to speak my truth. Sometimes the anger is there so that you can speak the truth. You might be getting this message and you can see wrongness is done to children, wrongness is done to our men, wrongness is done to our women.
Yes.
Hit the
And sometimes it takes an extreme to push you out of your comfort zone. So anger can be a catalyst, but it's also an underlying symptom. Okay?
like button if that resonates with you. It must be said, and that was also a main shift when we finally sealed and closed the ascension timeline was freedom of speech. Because if you are not allowed, if you have the muzzle on and you're not allowed to speak your truth, you get very sick.
Yeah, do you think there's a reason why the return of Christ came at the same time these V's were being shoved down your throat and all this kind of stuff? There are no coincidences. Everything is purposeful. Okay? God is very smart and God is very good. That's what I'm saying. My DM was even a plan I didn't know. Okay? Because my original had a black heart from Adam time frame. And he had to choose to heal it, but he didn't, unfortunately. He kept choosing the same things, and it was hard for me too, right? It was we were both being battled, not just him. And so nobody's perfect. I'm not saying I was perfect and he wasn't. It's not like that. It was a very big battle, but he still chose the same way. And so God said, enough. And I literally got, and this was coming. It was like, hey, come, come, come. It was a battle. People were seeing it from De La Roca to this other guy. People were seeing that battle of the twin souls. And God said, enough. And then he also said, twin flames will unite by me. And I didn't understand that either because we don't know. You don't know the vastness of the true message. That's why it's important to not assume anything, not have expectations, put it in your pocket and keep rising, okay? Because then my DM died and I got to walk in, and I say he did die because who he was is no longer. His soul was ripped apart. The DM part, the twin soul part, got put into a new DM. Okay. And then we all had to match that new DNA. The moon had to match that new DNA. Okay. And I brought down the blood of Christ at that time. And then the twin souls united by me was the Jesus and Mary Magdalene timeline. I'm doing the Holy Grail. And I didn't know that was coming. So you won't know. You won't have all answers. It's trusting in God that counts. It's trusting in your soul and in your heart space beyond what meets the eye and pushing past what you can, the obstacles, the fear, and soul growth, right? And if you sit on the couch and just eat your potatoes and watch Netflix, you're not growing and you won't make that timeline. You can do that. God gives you free will. The shadow did not.
Okay? And Dr. Gabor speaks about that. You check him out. All right? How do we make sure that we are so powerful at this time? Okay, this is what your Uncle Mike learned. And again, I live my life in balance. I live my life within seasons, not.
So I always talk about the new earth blueprint is balanced from the heart space, not the matrix, okay? So listen to this very closely.
Not winter, spring, summer, and fall. And you can have your, I'm talking about godly seasons.
Yes.
I'm talking about godly seasons, kid.
Yes. When God said.
So, you might go, you might hear these terms. You might go into the wilderness. You might go into the isolation season. Then you're in a different season. You might be in like a sponge. You might be getting these messages and you're not ready to maybe do your physical work or put yourself out there yet. And there was a time period where I was like that. And so there is a time period, and it could take years, that you're absorbing, you're learning, you're expanding. Then you're creating, you're putting out. There's a time for this and a time for that.
So a lot of people focus on the end, like an energy of, oh, I gotta, like it's the end. But what you need to do is take action in the moment now when God says. So God will say process. God will say now is the time to learn. God will say now is the time to do this, do that, do this, because you're going to grow. You're going to grow into that light that I need you to shine. But if you deny every movement God says to take, you're denying God's seasons. You're denying that energy, that momentous rise, and then you won't be able to help others rise. And it's bigger than you. Okay, it's bigger than you, meaning you can't quite put your finger on it. But what you can do is listen when the call is called.
There's a time for rest. There's a time to be in isolation. And it could be for an extended period of time. And sometimes, usually, for the most part, you might resonate with, I even just need like 2 hours a day. Just let me sit alone.
That isolation, I've actually heard people get that call and deny it. And they don't realize the biggest soul growth would have occurred at that time frame that they needed in order to fully rise. You see, so we may not always like what's put in front of us, but that's coming from ego and judgment and fear. But when you truly surrender to God's call, sometimes it's about growth. So it kicks you in the butt, but it's so worth it. Oh, it's so worth it.
So there's all different time periods in life. And those that show up every day on this channel, 9 a.m. Eastern time, why don't you hit the subscribe button? We're about to blow up like never before. I appreciate that. It's a really great support for the channel. Hit that like button if you just came in. You have to see it play out, and that's what we do here. It's giving a lens to the true ascension journey, and know God's seasons. And those of you that have been on this channel, you see real life evidence of God's seasons.
Yes.
God is going to put you in a season, and I shared this before. You want to push against the wall, it ain't going to move. You're going to go to the beach, the energy wave comes in, you think you're going to fight against that wave, you're going to get knocked over by that wave, son.
Yep.
But you can learn how to ride those waves. Yeah.
See, I say that all the time. Ride the wave. Don't try to control that wave. You have to ride the wave.
What's up? So really stay focused on that as well. So with that said, cherish your energy at this time. Yes. Don't give access to everyone for your energy. There are narcissists, trolls, people that don't have your bet. It's just the way of the world. Everyone can raise their vibrational frequency. This is an empowerment channel. This is a channel where the people that resonate with this on a daily basis, that don't get triggered, that take ownership of their life. You might go out into the spiritual conscious communities, the wellness communities, and you see people, they're not really practicing what they preach. Your Uncle Mike speaks the truth 100% of the time, okay? And it's not easy to do that.
No.
Because you trigger people. You trigger people from quote unquote both sides. There really is no sides. I said this before. I'll say it again. And I'll say it for years and years to come. True ascension is not left or right. It's up. You like that one? Why don't you write that in the comments?
That's what I said actually the other day in my video, is like, think of a hot air balloon. You have to be light enough to rise up. That means letting go everything holding you down. That's ascension. That's what it is. But you either become all darkness or you become all light. There's no in between. Okay? And so there's no left or right. I can't go roundabout. Our journey usually is circular, but right now it is only up.
Yeah. True ascension is not left or right. It's up.
Yep.
And I've seen this. It's all coming down now.
Yep.
Daddy's home. You know, people will pick a side. You know, a lot of people, when they hear that, they just think about politics, for example. Oh, there's a left and a right for politics. Choose a side. Well, this happens within any aspect of life, really.
And that's why I tell you, I undid the pentagram and the pentagon. I undid the money matrix. We undid all of this. Kilimanjaro, I told you the White House will be demolished. This is the activating pyramids. It's actual work. It's not me talking about it. And then when I told you Mr. T was going to win, you guys don't realize is that in these videos, I've put up protections on him. I helped guide him into that position because that's where God needed him for a reason. Okay, who says God will win, why, and even why Elon is there, which I channeled about him 2 years ago. But foundations will crumble. There's a karmic kickback applied, foundation of God required, okay? And so, you know, that's why we say he is the final president, because we can no longer have any divide. We have to be union through God. Only that's the new earth. Okay, Christ has returned. We can no longer play these games outside of God. There is no division under God. Under the house of God, we are all one under love.
And the more and more that we wake up to these things, we could see there's an infinite amount of possibilities. There is no left or right. There's not one way or the other way. You're going the wrong way. You actually got to go up and up and up and up. And people are going to write up and up and up in the comment section as we glitch the live stream again. Pulling it up again. So I could.
So funny because the other day I said you got to think of it like a hot air balloon. See, everything I say is relevant. That's what I'm saying. It all matters. You have to be light. You have to be light like a feather. You have to be light. Nothing holding you down. No fear. You know how I said you don't get triggered? You can't be triggered by your emotions. You have to be a master of your emotions. They are here to provide what to do. They are messengers. And they tell you everything about your internal reality. And if you can't be internal, if you cannot be internal applied, and things trigger you and you run from those emotions and you try to hide from being triggered, you're not in control of your life. You're not in control of your emotions. If your emotions take over and you find yourself, you know, one extreme to the other, you're not in control of those emotions and you're not going up. You're not rising up. You have to take control of your life. Pure sovereign through Christ. Okay? Pure sovereignty through Christ. All right, we'll listen to this a little bit more and then I'll just link his video below for you guys.
See everyone. Appreciate everyone coming on. I have a very, if you glitching, let us know. If you're experiencing the electronics glitching like never before, let us know. Okay.
Yep.
I'm here to, I'll raise my hand. I'll raise my hand. I struggled. I struggled with this in the past. Now I'm a professional at it. It's so hard. You know, I am a man that wants to be successful, and I'm teaching success. We're all going to have success. Don't go anywhere, okay? But right now, it's not just, okay, A to B to C. It's more like, ooh, we're going like this right now. So it's so difficult, maybe, to flow in unknown energy. And that's really what I've been doing. I've shared a little bit about this previously in a live stream. Sometimes we're going to have to start flowing in unknown energy. in order for us to get where we need to go?
Get out of your comfort zone. You got to get out of your comfort zone, okay? You absolutely have to get out of your comfort zone. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that, okay? This was another really good video that I found interesting is like, is Earth a prison planet? This one was really good.
Allow Prime Creator to take the reins of your life. The games of the manipulators are over. They thrive only in the absence.
Listen to this.
Your soul is pure source energy, an unbreakable extension of Prime Creator. It cannot be captured, harvested, or diminished in any way. The only bindings you have ever known are the self-imposed limitations of the mind.
Yep.
Many of you have chosen to incarnate on Earth to resolve energetic imprints, what you call karma, accumulated across lifetimes. Yet karma itself is not the unyielding burden it has been made out to be. It can be cleared in an instant when you allow Prime Creator to flow through you in
If you allow it to be, but if you play the games of the Matrix and let others burn your contracts and cut ties and consider them a burden, and that's painful because it's just choices you've made outside of love. And I've been saying that time and time again.
thought, word, and deed. The idea that karma takes eons to resolve is a distortion meant to keep you entangled in cycles of powerlessness. You have been anchored in material consciousness, relying on the mind as your primary guide, which has left you vulnerable to manipulation by certain entities.
Exactly what I said in my videos. That's why 666 is the mark of the beast, because 6 represents the mind. They use your mind against you. That's why one of the portals is gaining the power back of your mind. That is one of the testaments. Okay, that is one of the lessons to learn, is that you have to gain the power back from your mind.
Particularly the Greys, who take delight in sowing confusion through subtle shifts in your thoughts. Alongside them, other negative collectives have used similar tactics of thought transference to perpetuate dualistic thinking, dividing you between perceived good and evil.
Yep.
But here is the truth. The moment you allow Prime Creator to take the reins of your life, the games of the manipulators are over.
Yes.
They thrive only in the absence of your divine connection.
Exactly what I said. This is exactly what I said the other day, I think it was in my live, is that if you give your power away to the shadow and you say, God, you don't trust God, you're not giving your power to co-creation and to God, that's where you're giving your power away to the shadow. If you don't, when God says do this, if you don't trust and do this in the moment and just be grateful, gracious receptivity, you are falling prey. That's where karma is created. That's where karma is created.
As for the fear-mongering surrounding soul harvesting, know this: it is yet another fallacy, a psychological operation designed to trap you in fear. Your soul is infinite, untouchable, and eternally aligned with Creator. No force, no entity can claim what is already one with Source.
Unless you let it. You have to let it. That is the way you create karma, is trusting anything outside of God.
Let these truths anchor you in your power and dissolve the illusions that have
These may look like dentures or partials.
Dang commercials, huh?
sought to obscure your brilliance. As Earth ascends into her higher dimensional reality, a new base frequency will envelop your existence, a frequency so harmonious and aligned with Prime Creator that it will transform every aspect of your lives. This
Only if you get out of your own way. It's not going to happen to you. It can only happen through you.
new Earth is not something to strive for in a distant future. It is unfolding now, shifting seamlessly into your base reality as the vibrations rise and as you align with its essence. Prepare yourselves, for this new reality will be magnificently different from the one you have known, in ways that will elevate your every moment. In the new Earth, The old systems of scarcity and competition will dissolve, including the construct of money. You will not need currency, for you will live in a state of effortless manifestation, fully attuned to the flow of creation. Whatever you need will materialize as you hold it in your heart and align your intent with the divine energies. The false belief that one must hoard wealth or accumulate possessions will become an echo of a bygone era, fading into irrelevance. You will understand that fulfillment comes not from excess, but from alignment with your higher purpose, a purpose that transcends material gain and centers on love, unity, and service.
Exactly. You have to be balanced from the heart center, here to serve others, not just about you. This is exactly what I have been saying for a very long time. But instead of people, I'm going to stop talking. But that's exactly what I'm saying. That is balance from the heart center.
Negative emotional states which have long been amplified and exploited by manipulative forces will lose their hold over humanity. As you plug into Prime Creator, your connection to divine love will remain constant. The God switch will always be on, and with it fear, anger, and despair will fade into non-existence. Imagine a world where your heart is always light, your thoughts always clear, and your spirit perpetually at peace.
You have to allow it. God cannot force you. It is a rite of passage, because you have to allow this. You're the only one that can stop this. You have to get out of your own way. And throwing judgments in the wrong places towards yourself and towards others, and fear and greed, being focused on you. Oh God, what are people going to think of me? Oh my gosh. No, what you're doing is creating that in your reality, and you're anchoring into it. And this is what creates your karma.
This is not a fantasy. It is the natural state of being when aligned with the Creator's eternal flow.
This is why only pure hearts will rise now.
Your days will take on new meaning as you work in harmony with the earth, forming small, vibrant communities centered on shared purpose and creativity. You will co-create projects that nourish the planet and honor her renewed state, blending your human ingenuity with the wisdom of higher dimensional beings. These partnerships will become commonplace as the veil between dimensions continues to thin. Imagine walking side by side with those who have guided you from the unseen realms.
You guys, so walking side by side with those who have guided you from the unseen realms. Let me show you right now what that means. So recently, I don't want to switch accounts, sorry.
Cherish your energy at this time.
I did a video about this, okay? I did a video for the portals of the angels, because I said they will now walk amongst us. Do you understand what I'm saying? I literally told you recently, as I did the work, that the angels will now walk amongst us. So I'm going to show you that one and where to find it. I actually created the portal. They are in transitional phase, because we will walk with the angels. Once again, we will walk with extraterrestrial beings, because we are a multi-dimensional source. God is not just limited to humankind. Humankind was not the first creation of God. It was not. Gods were, and angels were. Okay, so recently, let me see where that is, because I keep doing a lot of work. It was after birthing the new earth. This one, creation of life portal, rebirth, angels prepping to be reborn on new earth. It's not normal. This is the end of ways, times. So the angels will literally walk amongst us, and that's what he's talking about.
Now fully visible and working alongside you. Together, you will restore Earth to her intended glory, cultivating not only physical renewal, but also spiritual resonance. Life on the new Earth will be free in every sense of the word. free from fear, free from limitation, free from the constraints of outdated systems. Your existence will be infused with love so abundant that it will flow effortlessly between you, enriching every interaction and weaving a collective field of joy and harmony.
Love won. Love won. It was love that kept me going. It was love that allowed me to have a new DM. It was love that activated the pyramids, that cleared all darkness back to the beginning of time. It was love that gave way to the undoing of the Holy Grail and the union of Jesus and Mary Magdalene timeline. It was love that birthed Sekhmet and Horus once again. And it was love that united Adam and Eve back to the beginning of time. And then we birthed the new earth together. Love won. All karma must be healed. That's what this talks about. Okay? It's all new.
This freedom will not feel foreign. It will feel like coming home, like rediscovering the truth of who you are and who you have always been. Begin to envision this reality each day. Hold the image of a world where unity reigns, where love flows endlessly, and where creation is a joyful collaboration with Prime Creator and all beings of light. Picture yourself thriving in this world, contributing your unique gifts to the greater whole, and experiencing the pure bliss of living in alignment with the highest frequencies. By visualizing this new earth, you not only call it forth into your own life, but you anchor its reality for all humanity. This
Exactly what I tell you guys is if you're not willing to do it, then the other ones that you need to carry through can't do it. When you do the work, it affects others. Okay? You're not here to just live for you. You are not here at this time to just live for you. We are here to help everybody through. So to think it's just about you, to think you need to just worry about money, you're not rising. And you're definitely not serving. Everything that I have been saying and showing you was brought forth in those videos. I will post them both in the links in the description of this video for you guys to watch. And you can also watch every single video of the Return of Christ. Undoing the Sistine Chapel was a blessing. You don't realize what they did. Do you know there were cherub angels trapped underneath it? Cherubim angels were the protectors of Adam and Eve and of Garden of Eden. The cherubim angels were the protectors of Garden of Eden, and they were trapped under the Sistine Chapel. I didn't know that. That happened recently. Okay? The pentagram was used for the Pentagon and money. And I will be channeling a video of what's to come in 2025 too, and that will be posted on Friday. So much love to all of you. I hope you have a very amazing, beautiful day, and make sure you take the time, because right now the most important thing to do is co-create with God and give your time to rise up, not left or right, but to rise up. So much love, my friends. Until next time.